Of Kagongo village in Kiambaa are still trying to come to terms with what appears to be the gruesome murder of 5 people: a father, mother, 2 children, and a worker.
It is a very bad scene because we have not had a scene of this magnitude and nature in Kenya for the last 10 years.
On January 5th, 2021, just 4 days into the new year, Kenyans awoke to one of the most horrifying murder stories in recent memory. In the quiet neighborhood of Karura, located in Kiambaa County, 5 members of the same household were found slaughtered in cold blood in the dead of the night. The victims, a father, a mother, a younger brother, a cousin, and a trusted farm worker. The scene was beyond horrific. A house soaked in blood, the bodies bearing signs of extreme and unthinkable violence. There was no sign of forced entry, no robbery, no missing property, yet 5 people lay dead. The answer would soon point not to a stranger, but to someone inside. This is a chilling tale of how a seemingly quiet and withdrawn young man transformed into a cold-blooded killer. A story of deep family tension, unresolved trauma, untreated mental illness, and a disturbing fixation on murder. Welcome to Buried Voices, where we uncover true crime and mystery stories from Kenya and beyond. In every episode, we aim to deliver balanced and factual narratives while honoring the dignity of victims and respecting their loved ones. Please note, this story is based on publicly available reports, news coverage, court documents, and psychiatric evaluations. The case is still ongoing in court, and all individuals mentioned are presumed innocent until proven guilty. Our goal is to present the facts as reported and to keep the memory of the victims alive. If you find value in stories like this, don't forget to like, share, subscribe, and turn on the notification bell so that you never miss a case. Lawrence Simon Warunge was born in 1998 as the firstborn child in a family that outwardly appeared stable, religious, educated, and quiet. The family lived in Karura village in Kiambaa, located in Kiambaa County. His father, Nicholas Njoroge Warunge, was a US-based nurse, and his mother, Anne Wanjiku, worked as a medical officer in Kiambaa County. Lawrence shared his home with his 2 younger sisters, his 13-year-old brother, Christian Jenga, their adopted cousin, Maxwell Njiru, and a long-serving farm worker, James Kinyanjui. To the neighbors, the household seemed well put together, no signs of conflict, no rumors of domestic issues. But under that veneer, Lawrence's world looked very different. He lived apart in a servant's quarter, detached from the main house. He spoke little and avoided eye contact. Neighbors called him a loner, a quiet, regular boy who would vanish into his room and shut himself away, emerging only to visit a nearby shop where he'd spent 500 shillings on mandazis and tea each day. Even then, he rarely spoke of anything personal. At school, Lawrence performed reasonably well but lacked close friendships. Teachers remembered him as intelligent but emotionally distant, a boy who didn't smile much, didn't fight, didn't stand out. He blended into the background, unnoticed and perhaps unknowable. But tension simmered beneath the surface. According to family statements and court records, Lawrence felt overlooked and unloved. His father was known to be strict, often intoxicated and sometimes physically abusive. His mother, busy managing the household and a career, was said to favor the younger siblings. A former neighbor recalled how Lawrence once came home with a bleeding nose but brushed it off. He said he slipped, but the neighbor suspected more. Still, no one intervened, and in silence, he endured. A probation report later noted that Lawrence believed his mother had tried to poison him. He harbored deep suspicions and delusional beliefs that blurred fantasy and reality, the early signs of an unraveling mind. It was more than a cry for help. It was a mind in quiet collapse. His uncle, Alan Giroux, told police that Lawrence once reported his mother to the police, accusing her of plotting against him. It was not the action of a teenager rebelling. It was a marker of deep emotional disconnection and growing paranoia. There were also claims he spoke of hearing voices and of unseen forces controlling his destiny. Those around him believed it was stress or teenage rebellion, but to Lawrence, it was real. As time passed, the emotional distance grew. He changed from a gifted, hopeful boy into a withdrawn outsider. Even during holidays, when his father was home, Lawrence would keep his distance, sometimes refusing to enter the main house at all. He wrote in notebooks obsessively. He started watching crime documentaries, murder confessionals, things that no one else noticed. Behind closed doors, he scrambled through a growing sense of rejection, anxiety, and a quiet rage. He imagined scenarios where he could free himself from the pain. The seeds of tragedy were not planted overnight. They were slowly sown in silence, one unspoken wound at a time. Lawrence enrolled at Mount Kenya University, pursuing a degree in information technology. But this chapter of his life would darken significantly. Those closest to him say his quiet demeanor deepened into isolation and obsession. Court and psychiatric reports later revealed a pattern of heavy marijuana use and alcohol consumption, often accompanied by paranoid delusions. In one psychiatric assessment, officials noticed that his use of substance had triggered an induced psychosis, a state where your thoughts and emotions are so impaired that you lose contact with external reality. It was during this time that Lawrence discovered Killing Eve, a British dark comedy drama thriller. He became fixated on the character, Villanelle, a ruthless assassin who kills without remorse. According to his handwritten confession to the DCI Homicide Unit, he searched online for the best way to execute his mission the same way the main character did, without a trace. In chilling details, he told the investigators that he studied her techniques and selected a metal rod and a 9-inch dagger, tools meant to mirror the fictional kills they obsessed over. He wasn't merely inspired. He intended to become Villanelle. Police reports state that Lawrence originally planned to kill every member of the household, including his 2 younger sisters. "My sisters returned to school on January 5th, he told investigators, and that's why they weren't killed. His notes, found later in his hostel room, included references to killing methods, timelines, and logistics, evidence that this was far from a spontaneous breakdown. By the end of his confession, it became clear a young man consumed by a fantasy of murder, fueled by untreated mental illnesses and addiction, had crossed the threshold from darkness to violence. January 5th, 2021 started like any normal day at the Warunge home. It was school opening day and the house was busy, just like many homes in Kenya. Nicholas, the father, took one of the daughters to school in Karura, and Anne, the mother, drove the other daughter to Kirinyaga. At the same time, their son Lawrence had other plans. He left home and went to Thika, but instead of going to class, he met his girlfriend Sarah. He asked Sarah to buy him 2 knives, and she agreed and bought them without asking why. After that, Lawrence left her and went shopping. He bought a pair of trousers, a jacket, a wig, some ladies' shoes, and a doll. When he got the doll, he cut its head off. Lawrence then proceeded to Nairobi CBD from Thika. He sat at Uhuru Park to breathe and think, and later he went to Naivas supermarket and dropped off his bag. He feared he might be searched at Holy Family Basilica, where he was going next. He walked into the church and prayed. He asked God to forgive him for what he was about to do, and by 4 p.m., he left the city and took a matatu home. He arrived at around 7 p.m., but he didn't go straight to the main house. Instead, he walked into the servants' quarter where their farmhand, Kinyanjui, lived. Without a warning, he hit him on the head with a metal bar. When Kinyanjui fell, Lawrence proceeded to slit his throat from ear to ear. He then waited in that small house until 8 p.m. and that's when his father came home carrying 2 cans of beers. His father then went straight into his bedroom. Lawrence climbed over the fence and entered the compound. He went straight to the main switch and cut off the power. Everything went dark. He then lit a green paper bag on fire outside the kitchen. His mother, who was cooking, came out to check, and Lawrence was waiting. He hit her so hard with the same metal bar, and she died. Her scream woke up Maxwell, Lawrence's younger brother. He ran outside to help, but Lawrence attacked him too. All the noise made their father come downstairs, but what he saw stopped him cold. His son, covered in blood, holding a knife. Terrified, Nicholas turned and ran upstairs. Lawrence chased him. His father tried to escape and jumped off the balcony. He landed hard and broke his limbs. He tried to crawl to the gate, but it was too late. Lawrence caught up with him and stabbed him 34 times, leaving his intestines spilling out. Then, he walked back into the house. His youngest brother was hiding under a bed, crying. Lawrence found him and cut his throat too. After all this, Lawrence went ahead to take a shower, went to the kitchen and ate the food his mother had been cooking, watched a movie, and then slept in his father's bed, while everyone else in the house lay dead. The next morning, January 6th, 2021, something felt off. The Warunge home was too quiet. No one had left for work. No one had opened the gate. The usual morning activity was missing. Concerned neighbors decided to check, and what they saw was shocking. They called the police, and the police rushed to the scene and began the investigations. Inside the compound were 5 dead bodies. The parents, Nicholas and Anne, the younger brother, Christian, the cousin, and the farm worker, James. Blood was everywhere. Some bodies were inside the house, others were outside. Furniture was broken, rooms were in a mess. It was clear something terrible had happened overnight. However, one person was missing, Lawrence, the firstborn son. He had vanished, but detectives were already tracking him. Using his phone signal, they followed his movements. He had traveled from Mahimahiu, then to Thika, and was finally found hiding in Lower Kabete on January 9th. When police arrested him, they expected a struggle, but Lawrence was calm. He didn't cry, he didn't resist. Instead, he told them, "I'll show you where I threw the weapons." He led the officers back to Mahimahu to a pit latrine behind an abandoned building. There, police recovered the knife, blood-stained clothes, shoes, and other items that he had tried to burn and hide. Investigators took everything in for testing. At the police station, Lawrence confessed. He explained step by step what he had done, from how he had planned the murders to how he escaped. Police asked the court to give them more time to finish investigations. They needed to do DNA tests, check his mental health, and question people close to him, including his girlfriend. When Lawrence appeared in court, he looked calm and quiet. He didn't argue, he didn't say much. But for the rest of the country, and especially for the families involved, the pain was only beginning. At his first court appearance, Lawrence surprised everybody by confessing to the killings. He told the judge he acted because his family was the devil, according to him, describing betrayal, emotional pain, and long-held anger. But weeks later, everything changed. A court-ordered psychiatric report from Mathare Hospital found Lawrence was mentally unfit to plead. He was diagnosed with cannabis-induced psychosis, paranoia, and delusional thinking. The magistrate ordered him to stay under mental observation while receiving further treatments. His girlfriend, Sarah Mathoni, who had helped buy a knife, was released and later became a state witness. In April 2021, a second psychiatric evaluation declared him fit to stand trial. Doctors said he had responded well to treatment and could now understand the court process. On April 15th, he appeared in court virtually before Judge Mary Kasango and pleaded not guilty to all 5 counts of murder. He was remanded to Industrial Area Prison as investigations continued. The trial was set for May 11th, but legal delays followed. His 2 surviving sisters, who were at school when the murders happened, were granted permission to submit a victim impact statement, a legal document expressing how the loss affected them. The case had taken months to reach court, and the waiting and investigations dragged on. The shift from confession to denial, from being unfit for trial to fit, showed how mental health would become central to the legal battle ahead. The murders shocked many people, but for the Warunge family and close relatives, it was more than a tragedy. It was a nightmare they are still living through. In Karura village, where the family lived, the home has stayed locked. The gate is still closed, and the once busy compound is now quiet. Some neighbors say it feels like a place frozen in time. The remaining family members, especially the 2 younger daughters who survived, have gone through deep pain and trauma. In January 2024, they spoke through a family representative saying, "Our hearts are yet to rest. Justice delayed is justice denied." The funeral was held in Karura, and it was one of the saddest moments for the community. 4 family members buried together on their land. The family's worker, James Kinyanjui, was laid to rest nearby at a public cemetery. After the killings, many people began to talk about mental health, drug use, and the stress young people go through quietly. But even with all this attention, the case has faced many delays in court. In 2022, the case slowed down when a judge retired. In 2023, the court dates kept changing. By mid-2025, a new judge was taking over the case, and still, the trial has not started. The family has waited for over 4 years for answers, and each delay has brought more pain. The lawyer said the back and forth in court has caused tremendous emotional distress. For the Warunge family, this is more than just a court case. It's a deep loss, a wound that refuses to heal. A son took away almost an entire generation, and the people left behind are now fighting for justice, one slow day at a time. Five lives, a family destroyed, not by a stranger, but by one of their own. The Warunge murders are a painful reminder that danger does not always come from outside. Sometimes it grows silently inside the very home we trust. Lawrence Simon Warunge was not an outsider. He was a son, a brother, a student. And in one night, he became one of the most chilling names in Kenya true crime history. What really pushed him to do this? Was it mental illness? Was it a dark obsession with violence and fiction? Or was it something even more deeper? Let us know your thoughts in the comment section below. If you found this story powerful, remember to subscribe for more real true crime stories. Let's bring light to the untold. Feel free to drop a comment in the comment section below. Until next time, stay informed, stay aware, stay safe.